We have some breaking news as reports and panic keeps flowing in as the hashtag witchtok and hexing the moon increases at an alarming rate, resulting in a clear division within the occult scene, from elders who attempt to calm the situation or shrug it off or even clutching their pearls, to new witches panicking and looking for answers. Stay tuned as we research the big question: have the baby witches successfully hexed the moon? Reporting live from news station WMATB, reporting to our money witch. It's your favorite opinionated whore, alleged demon queen, demon whisperer, and money witch. That's me. And as you've probably heard by now, last week we broke the internet with the news that baby witches and witchtok have attempted to hex the moon. And the news reached mainstream media, it reached scientists and people who we deem qualified to actually assure us that the moon is fine. First of all, you gullible bandwagon jumping motherfuckers, you have played yourself. Now, before I go into the juicy details, let's start off with some statistics and some important details. TikTok has 800 million users. 2.6 billion videos count the hashtag witchtok. Now, allegedly, one person said something about her and her posse or her little coven planning on hexing the moon. And there's nothing that can be found of that. No evidence, no video, except for one tweet that specifically says that she has no evidence for this, except for some screenshots of conversations that say that they too lack the evidence, but they have heard that this is the big plan. And the internet jumped on that so real quick, and it resulted in people speaking about it in a handful of different ways. One, the group that was actively ridiculing the baby witches. Then you had those who were trying to educate the outer world, the non-occult world on it. Then you have those who were like, well, this sounds like a ridiculous plan, but I applaud the baby witches for, trying new things, and this is the way you go on about it. Then you had people who kind of used the momentum and who spoke on the concept of hexing and the system and the strategy around it, completely separate from the hexing moon thing issue, but rather the broad concepts in an educational matter and format. Then you had those who couldn't be bothered. And then you had those who directly and individually felt the consequences of that moon hexing or whatever. Mainstream media such as Vice, Teen Vogue, Cosmopolitan, and whatnot, they made it very clear in writing about it that they couldn't find any evidence, that they weren't sure if it actually had happened, that it could possibly well be a hoax. Yet the inner crowd, us occultists, the actual occultist practitioners, took it at face value and wrote on it as if they were really sure that it had actually happened. Phrases such as, by now we all know that the baby witches have hexed the moon, and baby witches are not in it for magic, they are just in it for the following, and for this reason, baby witches hexing the moon is why I hate the younger generation. Imagine condemning a whole group that doesn't even exist. Dozens and dozens of statements. But can we pause for a second and discuss why it is so problematic to report an event as if you are sure it had happened versus reporting it as a speculation or a rumor or a possible hoax? If you do not understand and realize the importance of this nuance, you personally are a part of the problem. And let me repeat that again. If you don't understand the importance of emphasizing whether something has actually happened or whether you're speaking of a hypothetical situation, you are a part of the problem. And not alone were they sounding bitter and condescending and, phrases as TikTok can be used as magic, and they were trying to shun the new generation. But a little side note, 30 years ago, when the internet was just, starting to gain some momentum and growing, our elders said the exact same thing. They were hating technology. They were saying it's bad. And They had like this resistance, right, against change and technology. And this generation is doing the exact same thing. People are attempting to gatekeep a way of communication and technical evolution. But let's go one step further. As an occult scene, we can't even collectively agree on what is a witch or is magic, but too many are still attempting to gatekeep it regardless. Really? Also, have y'all never been young yourself? Fuck! I remember when I just learned how to fight, and I was like all feeling myself all puffy and big, and I was like, I'm gonna swing at the biggest motherfucker that I can find, and I'm gonna make a statement, right? And you know what happened? You just get knocked the fuck down real goddamn quick. And you know what that does? That shit humbles you real quick. Not only does it humble you, but it teaches you something much more valuable. It teaches you hierarchy. It teaches you getting up, recovering, adjusting, putting in the time, trying again. And let me be very clear on something. I will forever support anyone who is trying to do things, or old or new, over most of y'all big-mouthed motherfuckers yelling at people online. Any day. But remember, this didn't actually happen. Y'all made it into an egregore and an energy that had never happened if y'all had actually done your research. Now, I am all for hating, shaming, and laughing at people. Y'all know by now. But, crucial but, I'm only for it when the hating, the shaming, and laughing at people is for actually what they actually said. Not for what others turned the story into. And this goes for anything, by the way. Whether it's politics, whether it's Trump saying something stupid, whether it's J.K. Rowling, whether it's your next door neighbor, the list is endless. Hate all you want, but be very sure that you hate them for what they actually said or did. Not for what others had turned the sensational masturbation story into. All the clicks. All the sensation. All the clicks. Also, the human morality that has been projected onto this. Like, the moon is going to take revenge, and the moon is being offended, and gods are not answering the prayers. And I'm like, how do you know? Did you become the personal spokesperson for all these gods and entities? And to make it even more real and more personal, aren't you worried that the people that take this at face value aren't going to do the same thing to you one day? Where someone will present them with this flashy, shiny story about you, and they will just jump straight on it and cancel you without even like checking the facts, besides it being brought as a real flashy and glitter story. Because that's the problem with gullible people. They are a junkie for the next flashy and shiny thing. Example, I remember my cousin telling me this cool story of the local airport implementing this, important but drastic software, and which was kind of problematic. And I was like, holy shit, how do you know? Like, where'd you hear that, right? And she paused and admitted that she had actually no idea where she heard it or where it came from. And she ended with, shit, I should have actually checked because I have no idea. But let me slowly wrap it up here. So we have rapists, rape apologists. We have pedophiles and pedo apologists. We have active racism and white supremacy within the occult. We have sexism. We have classism. We have violence. And we have a ridiculous number of mentally ill. But y'all chose to spoke up about an event that actually never happened. And this is why the occult scene is a fucking joke. And I remember when I was starting to get involved with the occult scene and the occult people, and I was finding myself, more and more communicating, talking, hanging out with occult circles. And I was hoping, falsely and delusionally, that I would find people that operate outside of mainstream programming, people who question the status quo and who question, how everything operates within the world. Boy, was I fucking wrong. Now, if you actually have some integrity somewhere in your body, Integrity is an expensive habit, and most of y'all are poor anyway. And you realize that you spoke of this hoax as if it was something you knew to be true, rather than what you should have done, which is speak about it as, a rumor, he said, she said situation, a fun ride, or even a test just created to see how gullible people are. But if you do have some of that integrity, you should actually speak on it and describe the nuance of the wrong angle that you took. And I hope that you'll do this in the future too, or again. I'll wait. Or you can just admit that you like the attention that it gave you from ridiculing something that, again, perhaps didn't even happen at all, and like this false sense of authority it gave you. Like being annoyed with the fact that these baby witches didn't even ask you for permission. They didn't come to you on how to do things. They just figured shit out on their own. Like, just be honest about that. Like, I fuck with that. All the clicks. All the sensation. All the clicks. As per usual, if you have any feelings about me and me saying shit, take it up with your God. I have nothing to do with that. It's your favorite opinionated whore, money witch, demon whisperer,